Here we go.
178.
Whoa. 178. I think, well, obviously the whisper was a lot higher because
Mhm.
the dollar yen is spiking down.
Oh, employment earnings fell 1/10,
Mm.
which is not good.
No, but it's not a bad number. So I mean, you can see the dollar yen still holding up above support. I'd like to see what the Canadian number was. Canadian
Canadian
actually, yeah,
employment
they
up
have
10,
10,000.
11,000,
Yeah, it's a good
10.7.
number. Yeah, yeah, so a good number there. Um,
Jobs lost 4,000.
so let's see here. See, the dollar yen's not really moving. I mean,
I know
oh
we should
shoot,
have
did
hit
my
the
data
whole
just
thing.
stop?
It's 1374, 1370, 1369.
Hold on. Here's the dollar yen coming down. Yeah, I mean, we're still holding above that 60 level. Oh, there we go. We just popped it. Never mind. Here we go. Yeah, we just broke through. Well, my stuff's playing catch up here. So yeah, we're at 113.55. Now the dollar Canadian's getting killed too, because that was a strong Canadian jobs number.
We're at support at 32.56. That's a support level on the CAD, dollar CAD.
So the euro is at 106.
67.
Yep.
If we
Um,
could pull out stops and make it above 107, maybe
I don't think
it
it's going to
could.
make it all the way up there. I'm actually thinking about see, all my stuff is playing catch up right now. Let's go over to the euro dollar. I was thinking about shorting a little euro up here, but I don't. I just didn't get a chance to. I was hoping we'd spike up into the 80s, but
I'm hoping they can goose some stops. That's it.
yeah. Hmm. What to do? What to do? So there's the euro. Hmm. What are you doing here, Paul?
I'm gonna see if they can goose the stops on the euro. Like they said, they were expecting a stronger number. We didn't get it, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm not trying to rush into anything, but
Yeah.
if we can get to, I think how the euro likes to play. They like to goose the stops, and the first run doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stop, which was that spike high up to what looks like 72 or 73. We can generate some momentum and then get up to maybe like 710, maybe. So we'll see what we can do if we can goose the stops. And I think it'd be a great area to short ahead of that Italian referendum.
Yeah. So 106.75. See if we can get up there. Kind of the price I'd like, you know. Hmm. This dollar yen's breaking lower though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's trying.
Well, overall, the risk is for the year to go lower going into that referendum, and the no votes looks like they have it right now. So let's just see if the euro can gun some stops and then just sell into those stops. Then we could probably see it lower later on in the session.
So thinking about if I should add to my dollar yen shorts here. on the spike up into the 70s. Or 80s now. Sold a little bit more at 77. So it just sold a little bit more dollar yen up here. I'll be a lot happier if it drops back below 113.60 though. The euro
Bonds
is
took
really,
out the high of 50.17. They got up as high as 50.19, and they're pulling back a little bit. So.
pound's pretty strong. Kiwi and the Aussie are just kind of sitting there. The dollar Canadian spiked down to 132.50. Did you say there was support down there? Because
Yeah, support level 32.56. I was right when we were at 32.56. I said there's support there.
yeah, because we were at 60 is where I saw support, and then it spiked just below it, and now we're back above it. So, question is what to do here.
I'm just in no point to rush because the euro did a lot of work over the course of this entire week, so I don't feel comfortable shorting it here. And if it eventually goes lower and then get a no in the referendum, I'll look for opportunities on Sunday evening. There's just I don't think there's any reason to get into it right now. If it falls, so be it. Then it fell.
Dollar yen's back in the 80s.
Yeah, I think it's just a mixed bag. The dollar yen should have fallen a lot harder on that weaker number.
Yeah, I know. The Nikkei didn't. It spiked down and right back up again, which I don't like.
The year's a little bit weaker, but it's still contained within this range.
Yeah.
And it's done a lot of technical work throughout this whole area. So, I'll wait till Sunday night.
Yeah.
I was selling the dollar.
Right, you look at the euro come right back down again. Damn.
Yeah,
Man, I
it's still
miss.
within its range. That's what I'm saying. I worked hard this week, harder than I should have had to, which I just kept selling the dollar into rallies. So I'm in no rush to go on and try and do anything here in the euro. It's as long as it's trading between this 630 and 660, it's still within this morning's range prior to NFP. So nothing really happening at this point.
Yeah. I mean, labor productivity went down. Average hourly earnings went down. Average hourly earnings came off 0.3% worse than expected.
I know. They
That's
came in
upset.
negative 0.1. That's not good news. But in the bigger scheme of things, it's not going to make any big impact. They're still going to raise us. I just think that I'd rather just wait until you get good levels on these markets.
Yeah. I was hoping to short the euro up in the 80s, but it's nothing doing.
Not at this point. I thought maybe we might be able to trip some stops and get into the sevens, but they're just still sitting within this defined range. Maybe they'll goose some stops on the way lower. I don't want any part of it until after I get past that referendum.
Hey, watch the bond market here. The bond market's actually starting to firm up, so, you know.
Well, we went up there and took out 50.17 by 2 ticks, and now we're here at 50.08, and then we're just kind of sitting there. But it's come off those lows really well from yesterday. The gold market, that's a huge level, that 1164, as well as you mentioned about the 61%.
Yeah, here's the 30-year. So if the euro, I guess you got to watch the bond market, because if the bond market takes out highs, and gold didn't, I mean, gold spiked up a little bit, but
I think these markets are going to sit quiet until we get past that referendum. Unless you're scalping or putting on some trades for the day, there's just no reason to step in with too much going into that referendum. It's not that I don't think it's going to impact a whole ton of markets, but why put on the risk? I mean, this week was a tough week. No matter how you were trading, it was a tough week at these extremes. So that's why I thought that NFP would just be a non-factor.
Yeah. Oh, this dollar yen's back at 114 or close to. Darn it. This doesn't look like it's gonna. Oh, the Nikkei's popping back up. S&P futures are weak.
Yeah, I think that tops in from a couple of days ago. I'm still mad at myself for I should have just stuck to my own guns when I said, "Hey, this is probably it from the S&Ps," and it was only five handles away from the outright highs. I just kind of let people, you know, uh, play into my argument and should have just stuck to my own guns and sold it. I haven't done anything with the S&P, but I thought, what the heck? Sell it there, put a five-handle stop. If they take me out, they take me out. That was 21 handles ago.
Just looking at the Aussie and the Kiwi, they're not going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Canadian's weaker. Is crude spiking up towards the end of the day, or towards the end of the week. It's pushing higher, so that's just feeding on the Canadian.
For the most part, if you look at it, the euro's trading basically in the same 20 pip range has been trading in for almost 3 hours, with the exception of this pop.
Yeah.
So nothing's happening. That's what I'm saying. So we might work lower later on the day as people set themselves up for the referendum, but I didn't think there was anything unless we could get above, hit those stops. I thought I'll happily take it on at 710, 712, and then look for it to probably back off about 50, 60 pips before the session's over. But that's the only way I was going to do anything with the euro.
Trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this dollar yen. Yes, I mean the S&P. S&P is coming off. I just don't know what to do here, Paul.
I don't think there is a whole lot to do. I think it's just traders trading among themselves in a very, very tight intraday range. And trying to see more than that is just fruitless, I think.
Yeah.
People, even though some of the markets may not be directly impacted, i.e. the euro on the Italian referendum, I think people are going to step back and just say, I'll just wait. I'll come in next week. Because this week was a tough week. I mean, I was selling the dollar on rallies, and I was underwater several times. I came out okay, but I sure worked hard to make the nickels I had. So I'm not going to come in and throw my money away now on this slot. It's not even slot, but unless I see 107.12 or 107.10, I'll happily take the other side of the euro. Until then, I'm not going to do anything. Gold held at 11.64. There's no need to do anything with gold until we get past the Italian referendum. And I think a lot of these markets are going to be like that until Monday.
Yeah. So this vote this weekend probably will end up moving the markets a bit, and then you just gotta. I think you gotta end up reacting. Yeah.
Just hang tight until then. Don't throw your money away. I mean, I'm saying that to other people, It's probably going to get there, but if we get euro to 107.10, I'll take it. I will not buy the euro at this point now because we got past even though it's only a few minutes past NFP, a strong number would have dipped it down to, let's say, 106.03, 106.05. Buy it, let it rally back up to about 45 or 50, and then sell it. But at this point, I'm not doing anything other than shorting the euro on the rally above today's highs. Other than that, just going to wait till Sunday and come in with fresh bullets.
Yeah. Well,
Bonds selling off now,
they are.
49.31.
I was just going to say the bond market actually is starting to sell off a bit.
With the bonds, I don't think as much selling it off as it is the people that got long yesterday or used this number and they're taking the profits. So you probably see the bonds maybe come back in another 10 or 12 ticks, but I don't think it means that it's doing anything other than longs are taking some profits, some good profits yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was telling some people and talking to some other traders when the bonds were coming undone, and people were saying it's just going to keep on going. I said it has that feeling like people are getting completely wiped out of their position, with the option that we could turn around, and we did. It hasn't been a massive turnaround, but it did rally more than two handles, 2 full points off the lows. But I think we're just going to give back some of these gains. We're now almost a full point. Well, not quite more than 3/4 of a point off the highs. We'll probably work, like I said, another 10 ticks lower, and then we'll just be even Steven ahead of the referendum.
Gold's coming down a little bit. Silver's
Mm-hmm.
coming down. Bonds. You're right. They're starting to sell off a bit. Dollar yed's back at basically 114. Dollar yen just popped. It's going to pop above 114 here. Pop some stops. Um, it just did. It's choppy. It's there. There's nothing to do right now, Paul.
Dollar CAD is now nearly 50 ticks off of its lows, and a little bit higher, it'll have a hammer bottom.
Yeah, it really stinks because I was looking at that thinking, man, I should be buying this down here at 132.60, and I didn't. That's all right. Um,
I don't think people should place too much weight on technicals on what you see happening today. I think it's just an evening up of positions that went one way, and I wouldn't read much into it. So if you look at the bonds, it's a shooting star on a 15-minute chart. I don't think it necessarily means anything. I just think that people are going to be, they're just taking some of the profits from yesterday's longs.
yeah, yeah.
I do agree with you. I think that S&P is going to be going south of the border over the next, several weeks and into probably the first 2 months of 2017 as people look back and say, wait a minute, with bond yields this high, we've got to go in and revalue what the S&P should be priced at, and which will eventually help the dollar yen lower.
Yeah. Well, Nikkei's pressing higher as bonds are coming down, but the S&P is rolling over.
Mm-hmm.
Gold's coming down, silver's coming down, copper's coming down. Kiwi and the Aussie are, trading very heavy at this point. Canadians back up. Look at the Canadians, almost at highs of the day.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
like
how
50 pips off the
how
lows.
how many times has that happened, Paul? Where you get just bad number or a good number in the Canadian, and you see a complete utter reversal of the Canadian currency.
I know.
It happens almost every jobs report. It's pretty gnarly how it happens.
I wasn't looking to do anything in dollar CAD, so I'm not kicking myself. But like I said, we got to 32.56 and said, hey, we got support right here. And now here we are now 60 pips off the low. So that's pretty good. Although I have to say, I wasn't looking, I haven't really followed the Canadian that closely. So I'm not kicking myself. But for those who trade the Canadian, man, I should
Euro
hope people
dollars
pick it up.
near lows of the day.
Yeah.
U.S.
Bonds
dollar
continue
Norwegian
selling.
krona new high.
Yen
I
on
mean,
its
this U.S.
highs.
dollar, man. This U.S. dollar is strong, baby.
I just think it's an evening up of trades that were taken on yesterday. The people that got long or got short the dollar yesterday, if they're still in, I think it's just an evening up. Just like the bonds are on the lows now. We're now nearly a full point off the highs.
Look at this CAD. Big hammer off the bottom.
60 pips off the lows.
Well, um, bonds are really coming off now.
Down here on its highs.
Yes. Damn it. And I'm still positive in my short, but yeah, I should have just yanked that thing right off the lows. But
Yeah. For those that are scalping it, supporting the euro is going to come in at 623. If you're scalping, if you're short, you may want to take a little bit off, or if you want to just say, I'll stay short through the Italian referendum. We'll get a little bit of support here around 22.23.
futures look like hell.
Mm-hmm.
Euro new lows. Wow.
23 is support on the euro. If you're short, you want to take some off the table. I'd rather come in flat and with powder dry on Sunday.
Right. Be able to react. Yeah.
Exactly. So if the euro really blasts lower, I'll see if it can hold steady, and I'll have my levels, let's say 105.20 or something like that. If everything comes unglued and I can come in fresh, and I'm not licking my wounds from anything I do today.
Yeah. I hear you. I think that's a smart way to go about it. Dollar yen new highs.
This is support for the gold market, 1168. It looks like we made it down to 68.50 or 40. So this is a little bit of a support level here. Same thing with the euro. It just ticked down to 25 or 28. This area probably hold for just a scalp type thing.
Oh, well, let me take a look at the bond market here.
Support comes in right here. We actually hit it. Support came in at 20. It looks like they ticked down to 18. They're at 23.
Yeah, bonds, I mean, look at this volatility right here.
Yeah.
Quite messy. Quite messy, Paul.
Euro 11 pips off its lows.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't get myself to be a buyer down here in the euro. I mean, I just
No
wanted to be
way,
a
not
seller up
now.
at 107 and just can't get myself, can't muster up the energy to do that.
I think the dollar's overdone, but there's no way in hell I'd buy the euro down here. If I would have bought it on a good strong number like 215, 220, and maybe catch 35 pips up, but I wouldn't touch the euro for the long side with my enemy's worst money, or my most enemy's money, because I think that referendum is going to be no, and then it's just a matter of how much pressure there is.
Yeah, but a no's already factored in the market.
Well, I said that ECB stores are going to be buying Italian bonds for the next 3 weeks, but still, why step in? I'd rather step in with the euro 100 lower, and I say, well, it looks like we're starting to not push any lower. I look at my risk level at that point and come in, but I don't like to gamble like that. Maybe the referendum flips the other way. I have no idea, and at these levels, I'm not going to do it. I worked hard enough this week selling the dollar on rallies. I don't need to subject myself to nail biting over the weekend. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. So the Canadian didn't hit new highs. It came off a little bit, but that doesn't mean it won't.
At the top of the hour, we're going to have a nice hammer bottom in the dollar CAD.
Yeah, and a lot of the dollar pairs actually, a dollar CAD, dollar yen. Um, the Aussie and the Kiwi just aren't doing anything. Euro is still trading heavy. I think about all the people just want to sell euros, ahead of this referendum. Just get me out,
I know I wouldn't want to be long.
Yeah,
And I've been long over the last few days.
yeah.
You don't want to see this dollar yen close above 14.16. It's on at the top of the hour. That's not good.
Yeah.
But we're below it right now.
Hmm. Well, I'm not excited about doing anything right at this very second, Paul.
I don't think people should. You should just sit back and wait for Sunday. And I'm sure next week, I still expect a 30%, 8% correction in the dollar, but I'm going to pick my
A what?
levels to
How
come
many?
in.
A
Huh?
3% or a 30%?
38%.
A
I think
38%. You mean
38 of the euro. So I don't expect the dollar to still see some selling in euro dollar until about 750, and I think the euro has a chance to make it up to about just a little bit above 108.
yeah.
So once we get
No,
past
I
that,
thought you said a 38% retracement. I'm like, ooh, that's a big retracement,
well, in the
percentage
euro,
wise.
yeah, I am. I'm looking 38% in the euro is 816, and that's in the
A
silver.
38% retracement, a Fibonacci retracement,
Yeah,
basically.
from 517, which was the recent low, to
Hmm.
1299, which was the high at the night of the election.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to see any good selling the euro until 758. So I think 758 is not hard. Now, obviously, if we were 100 lower or 125 lower on the referendum news, that fib low is going to have to come even lower. But all things being equal, I think we'll make it up to 750 before we start to see some selling come in. So I think there'll be some good news next week, provided we don't get a disaster in Italy.
Yeah. This pound was trying to rally and it pulled back. Pound's kind of struggling up here. I think pound's got a little bit of altitude sickness.
Well, yeah, I'm interested to see in this whole overall dollar correction if it plays out, how far the cable can go. And I think eventually next week, if that plays out, it'll get past that 26.92, which I liked, and potentially make it all the way back up to 28.74.
Look at this. Look at this bond market. The rip up, the reversal,
Mm-hmm.
the rip back up again. Oh man, thank God I don't trade bonds. But
Well, like
jeez,
you're saying, I think they're just evening up the positions. Those that got long yesterday, so we came down to that 49, 19, 18, and we just come back. That's the people who just, it's just trades within. That's what I'm saying. We were saying that just a few minutes ago. When you see that shooting star on the bonds on the 15-minute, don't read too much into it. What's happening today? The technicals don't matter. We're already back up to 150 now on the
yeah,
bonds.
right,
It's just the euro. It took out lows, and now we're back into that range between 30 and 50.
yeah,
Don't read too much into what's happening today. People are keeping their hands in the pockets until the Italian referendum.
true. All right, well, I was hoping there would be more excitement. I mean, we got a lot of whippiness, and I wouldn't be surprised if the euro, pops back up to 106.50 and dollar yen back below 114, and we just, end up chopping around, and it's going to end up being
I think
very
so.
annoying for everybody.
I don't think that the Italian referendum is as big as other things like the Brexit thing by any means whatsoever. But as tough of a week this was, and how the dollar made even further new highs, and other markets where gold was selling off, there's just no reason to do anything today. That's why I think people want to come back fresh next week and just get that referendum behind us, and then we can go in a new direction.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kip. How's it going?
Okay.
Good, man. How are you, Mr. Sleepyhead?
Uh, yeah, I know. It's Friday is killing me. I'm good. Just tired and very whippy markets at the moment, and we're just it's very very choppy right now. Very choppy. It's directionless in the market at the moment, and I
What's up,
have
Paulie?
no.
How you doing, man?
Hey, I've been kid.
Good, good, good.